Okay, so today we're talking about ChatGPT as your running coach, revolutionary or risky. I would like to say that I am still possibly something of a Luddite or technophobe. So I've used it a little bit, whereas James, you are Mr. How do we do this better, faster, streamline it, make it more efficient? Obviously we've been doing some ChatGPT stuff together. But first of all, I think maybe there are some trainers out there who don't even know what ChatGPT is, perhaps. So tell them what it is and why we are trying it out as your running coach.
ChatGPT is Skynet for the future.
Yeah, it's going to take over the world.
Exactly. Something Terry Moore said the other day. She asked me, why are you so polite to ChatGPT all the time? I go, well, just in case one day Skynet takes over, and I can say I was polite.
Yeah.
So I always say, my mother taught me well, please and thank yous all the time. So there you go.
Honestly, no, I do. This is just a little bit of a segue. I do. When I've used it, I am also polite. I don't know whether it's a British thing, but I feel like I should be,
Yeah, I know. It's doing a lot of work for us.
And doing it very quickly.
Exactly. So we got to consider it. But yeah, no, it's basically AI. It's AI that's helping us do a vast amount of things. It's more the text and maths and calculation side of things we use it for than anything else. And you can ask it questions, come up with ideas, titles. In fact, we can use an example. This ChatGPT helped us come up with a title for this podcast. Whether it works or not, we don't know. But it just helped us give an idea, different perspective when we put the prompt into it to help throw some ideas around it. So yeah, ChatGPT has been around almost 12 months now to the public. I think it is revolutionary. I think it's changing the world as we know it and how we use it. And I think it is going to change the way we use it for personal training later down the line. However, it's like any computer or any technology, it's only as good as the prompts you put into it. Coming back from my computer science background, when you are coding, you have to do the right prompts in the right order, right? So I think that stands me in good stead when I'm prompting ChatGPT to do stuff. Now, there's a whole array of ChatGPT training software out there, or training tools and marketing pieces that trainers are trying to sell to you right now, right? But they're just launching it out because they're copying everybody else and what everyone else is doing. We have been using it now for 9 months. We've been trying to find the best ways to use it. I think the best way we use it right now is for running calculations, and that's something that we're comfortable to share with you guys today until we get everything else right and how we do it with other elements of training. But I am confident that we can use this to help improve our running performance and training plans, make them even better, but more importantly, speed up our time in trying to find out these numbers and these stats and the deliverables that we can give to our clients. That's the best way to put it, isn't it? I think that's what we're using for. That's what we're going to talk about in this podcast today, is how we're using it for running performance and how we're using it to make better running time predictions and how we address our running training plans for people, because it's the simplest and easiest ways to show the power of ChatGPT, that's quick, efficient, and I say it's ethical in some respects as well, because we're not using it to write the programs. It's helping us write the calculations and the maths that would have taken us hours, like a long time to do previously.
Maybe not hours. Yeah, but I think that's important to point out. It is more, we're using it for complex mathematical problems, for formulas that we as simpletons may not be able to do. There are some good running calculators out there as well, which like I said, I am still a bit of a Luddite, bit of a technophobe. I do use that because I like to check the maths as well, but it does take a little bit longer, whereas we've trained ChatGPT to do math stuff, maximum aerobic speed work, break it down into 200 meters, 400 meters. What would be your predicted 2K time, your 5K time, your 10K time, and so on and so forth. Your goal time for a marathon, your goal time for a half marathon. What should be your pace per kilometer? I'm going on and on now, but that's how complex it can get, right? And ChatGPT, that would take me. I can do it on the running calculator. That would probably take me, I don't know, maybe half an hour to do all that. How fast is ChatGPT? Now that we've trained it.
It's 30 seconds tops, depending on what happens. And sometimes you have to ask it to redo something again to prompt it. But 30 seconds, we have a whole array of information at our disposal to change it up. So I think here's a good way to put it. And this is just to give you an idea of how we're using it in a more specific environment right now. So for our layer 2-1 assessments in our system of training, we have a 5K run It's an aerobic capacity snapshot. It's not a true aerobic test. It's a capacity snapshot. We don't give it to everybody, but for runners, we do use it with them quite a bit. However, most runners want to get faster, right? Or they want to try and do a half marathon and take their 5K into a half marathon or a marathon, okay? So there is a formula called the Regal formula out there that helps you predict future run times based on certain times. It's better predicting up than it is down, but you can use it to predict down at the same time. So what we do now with ChatGPT is we've trained it up so we can go, hey, based on the 5K run time of this, right? What is the predicted run times of a 2K, 1 mile, half marathon, and it gives us an idea of like where they will be at if they run at this pace based on what's going on in front of us, which is a great way for us to establish a baseline of where they could potentially get to. Now what we then do is we then go, right, what is the average minute per mile pace or minute per kilometer pace? So we have an idea of what the minute per kilometer pace is. And then we can start asking, well, okay, what's the potential if somebody wants to run, say their predicted time for a 10K is 58 minutes, right? But they want to run a sub 50 10K. We can ask it, well, what is the goal race pace of running to get them to that? So we then know it's at this particular time. So we can do this very quickly. So we then know we need to get them running at this pace. So if this pace is, we have this answer to this pace, we can then know the times they need to be running 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters, 1500 meters in, and give them set times to run at race pace. Because what we do with all our running guys, we like to start small, build volume at small, and then we go up. Right, we go up from 200 meters to 400 meters here to build them up, to build that capacity further up. So ChatGPT is very good at allowing us to calculate predicted race times. It allows us to help very quickly calculate race, minute per kilometer times at the same time, or mile, depending on what you do, or both at the same time, right? Depending on what you do. Because in Europe we use per kilometer, and in the States we use the old school method of using miles, right? So it's very important we have both those things at our disposal, working people all over the world. And then we have this to create better training plans. Now, what the really cool thing is that when we apply some maximum aerobic speed work, the Dan Baker stuff, we can then get it to calculate what's the 120% pace or time, right? So Dan Baker stuff on the meters per second is quite complex online and working with people, so we make it simpler. We get their minute per kilometer pace, and then we do 120% of that, and then we have their new pace. So we tend to do run 200 meters in this time frame, which is their 120% allocated time, and then we scale up accordingly. So it's a lot of things here. It's a lot of calculations. So I love ChatGPT because it speeds up our time, makes us more efficient at what we're doing complex math that we had to do manually by hand before. It's not writing training programs yet. We have tried it to get it to do that. However, it's not as accurate as what we want to do it. And I think it needs more training, or we need to have a better understanding of how to do it. But for the math calculations and formulas, it's fantastic. And it allows us to write better training programs. And Teresa Warren is our star of this because she's the real first person to go through this whole method of what we're doing.
Yeah, so more personalised mathematics in terms of pacing and times, but not quite yet. We're still working on the programming side of things, which might get there, but don't worry, trainers out there, you will never be replaced. There'll always be the need for us, because what is it? It's only as good as the prompts you give it, right? That's the limitation, probably.
Exactly. I think just to finish off with, I think that's a really good point. I think it's imagine a Venn diagram with two things overlapping. I did a webinar on this the other day, actually, which I might even make live on YouTube for you guys too. So the idea is we're working in harmony with ChatGPT. It's not going to replace us. You're not going to lose your jobs, but I think it's going to make you work smarter. And if you're not doing it already, you're missing out.
Absolutely. That's it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about our training system that will help you save time and maximize client performance, go to strengthmatters.com/system. Tune in next time.